Welcome to Now TV Canada, and I am Just Jen YouTube channel. I am Just Jen. I am the writer of the Smallville Reunion movie. I am the writer of You've Got Mail Too, which is titled something different, another story with Joe Fox and Kathleen Kelly. I am the writer of the Supergirl 2, 3, and 4 trilogy. That was inspired based on Helen Slater and Faye Dunaway movie, original cult classic, which I think will be streaming again soon. So it's a good time to keep up and follow with me. I'm going to do like a pilot sample of that material as well in the coming new year, and try to get that out there and maybe even reach her. Because I'd love it if she was like, on staff, executive producer or something like that in helping make the trilogy. So yesterday I went out, had a good time. Me day, date me. Day, date me, day. Phew, tongue twister. And now I'm home. It's December 25th day. I wasn't raised to practice Christmas. And most people know that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. And that's sort of what today's video is about. I'm kind of be like the damper of the day, which is not really a damper because you guys can see in my short videos that I'm having a great time using a new kosher, holy, clean bread recipe. I call it Jesus bread, because this would have been the kind of stuff that he was fed and used to eating when he walked on the earth with us. So today it's not about trees or gifts under the tree. It's just about, what do you call it, grain offering, I guess, bread breaking with God and Jesus, the disciples, for remembering what the promise after the flood represents and what Jesus' life represents to us, for me. So just keep watching to see the results of the bread. It is now rising, and I'm not going to peek to see how well this recipe did for the results of it. I'm super stoked that it's going to be really good. See, because I listen to Jesus. I listen to the Spirit. He doesn't have to talk to me. I don't have to hear a voice to know what he's saying. And 9 times out of 10, or actually 10 times out of 10, it always works in that favor that it works out perfectly according to his taste. So I'm kind of getting used to how to cook for him and the disciples. So I'm going to make lentil soup for the first time from scratch. I bought my lentils the other day, and there's a recipe on it to go with that. So I'm going to learn to try to cook more paleo and clean eats stuff that would be some things that he would have eaten to represent that he is with us, that he lives, right? That he's gone up there to rule over the earth with God, under God, to keep us all safe. And I want to share some scripture, and then I'm going to take that scripture screenshot. I'm going to put it on the video for everyone, because that's sort of what I wanted today's video to be about. So just give me a second here. I'm going to pull out my Bible. I'm going to find the book of Jeremiah. See, superheroes were all came from God. Jesus was the first Superman. He was the first person to fly. And then all of the folklore we have around Hercules and all that stuff came from, the Roman days and stuff. So there's like a connection always from the past to where we are now. So I'm using a different Bible from the one that I have a screenshot of. So let me find it where it is. 825. So we're going to go in my woman's devotional, number 2, 825, and going to Jeremiah. It's at the back of Jeremiah. And I've read through the whole Bible, obviously, most of my life. I've been reading through this book, and this is the only place you'll find it. And it doesn't particularly matter to me which Bible you read. It's pretty much the only place you're going to find it. Okay, right. So Jehoiakim is released. Jeremiah 52, 31 to basically the end, to 34. So Jehoiakim is released. King Jehoiakim was of royal descent under Josiah, who is a man that served Jehovah God, the true God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. And he was worried at that time in the world. There was lots of violence and chaos and stuff, that he would have no descendants, no living relatives. He was worried about the future. So During the time that Nebuchadnezzar was running around crazy doing what God needed somebody who was bloodthirsty enough to do to get rid of people more evil than him, he did something for Josiah by putting Jehoiakim in jail. I guess he must have had done something when he was young that would have warranted a certain amount of time in prison. And so, after all that time with Nebuchadnezzar and rule and that war was over, 37 years had passed. So Jehoiakim was released. So in Jeremiah Jeremiah chapter 52, verse 31, it goes, in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the year Evil-Merodach became king of Babylon, he released Jehoiakim of Judah and freed him from prison on the 25th day of the 12th month. So that would be December 25th. So December 25th is actually the release date from prison of a guy named King Jehoiakim, who was the son of Josiah, who was the man that served the true God, Jehovah. Now, there was a guy who was of the early priests that wore all those weird get-ups that the popes are still sort of dressing in today, that lived in Turkey, that made a holiday around Christmas, giving gifts to kids and stuff, because even bad people know how to give their gifts, good gifts to their kids. And somehow the mixture between new Christian and Jesus life sort of gave way to using this date as the birth of Christ, creating the Christmas we know today in the world. And that's the reason some people do not celebrate this day for that reason, because Jesus wasn't born on that date. It was the release date of some guy that didn't actually ever come to serving the true God, even after release from prison. So if you go on to read the rest of the scripture, it says in 32, Evil-Merodach spoke kindly to him and gave him a seat of honor higher than those of other kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiakim put aside his prison clothes, and for the rest of his life ate regularly at the king's table. Day by day, the king of Babylon gave Jehoiakim a regular allowance as long as he lived, to the day of his death. So the lesson here was the time that he spent in prison getting to know his father's God intimately, was that he chose the rest of his life to live in peace and unity with that God. Like, he didn't go out to commit crimes. He didn't live a bad life. He didn't do bad things. He was choosing to live a peaceful, solemn life, because 37 years in prison would do that to somebody. It would change somebody when they're young, and then get out in their 50s tremendously, in learning from that God who he is and what this lesson was in that time. And so he learned from that. Now, he may have celebrated an anniversary to himself once a year on December 25th for himself and personal joy of never going to see the inside of a prison ever again for the rest of his life. But he himself sure wasn't the dude that decided, oh, let's make a holiday out of me being released from prison on December 25th. So I feel really bad that he was mentioned in the Bible, and that some other dude somewhere in the beginning of early Christianity, in that Trinity truth stuff that was going on, when there was no apostles or disciples around to help advocate for the actual truth that God wanted us to know, took that and decided, hey, because there's people coming from idolatry into Christianity, and new Christians being born, we want everybody to come together and at least once a year live together in a time of peace. That Christmas was born. Now, the story of Kris Kringle was multiple stories of multiple people in multiple small villages in multiple places around the world over time. People that could carve toys and make gifts for poor children, the poorest children in their communities and villages. So I guess Father Christmas, God as we know it, was Father Christmas, could see who had the skills to make toys in communities where kids rarely ever had toys, maybe only had one toy if they were lucky. And so he elicited this joy of giving to these people who have this ability to share their skills with these kids. And so it sort of spread around like that until we finally get those stories that were written and published in New York, where Santa gets a sleigh and has the magic power of being able to fly with the reindeer, and it's just one guy flying around the world all night. One of the Kris Kringle stories, one of the stories of one of these people that was chosen to give gifts and share his wealth was a man who was born into a really, really wonderful family. He had great parents. He was really raised up really well. His name has slipped me at this point. But the story is his parents passed away when he was still pretty young, probably like 9 or 10. So he had had enough time with his parents to have been raised into a nice young man and developed the core of who he was. And they were very well off, very well to do, very successful. And he was basically well off and rich the rest of his life, his whole life. And he spent his whole life accomplishing the mission of the task that God, I guess, had imposed upon him as a gift. He gave and gave and gave and gave. He shared his wealth till the day he died. He did things for others, and giving out gifts and stuff to young people was a part of that whole thing. So that is where we get the whole Santa Claus thing from. So I'm not a complete downcast on the whole light the tree gift thing. I just wanted people to know that we need to fix how we celebrate, who we're celebrating for, what we're celebrating under, why we're doing it, and that we don't always have to make turkey over the guy in Turkey that made a mess out of giving gifts to children in a country at a time where children were basically not encouraged to play with toys, play outside, have fun, and really didn't get a lot of good things. So getting toys gives creativity and inspiration and joy, and we want all of that in our lives with the kids, but we don't want to overconsume either in that world. Just a few good things is all we need to be happy in sharing time together as a family. It's about coming together, reuniting, slowing down, cooking together, sharing time together, praying together, remembering God and being thankful for what happened in his promise with Moses around January 1st, and the celebrations that happened in the first month of the first year, as well as his promise to Noah after the flood, which was based on January 1st, which was the first day they got out of the boat after the flood. Because God was keeping track. Of course, he had the calendar. And I will do a video about that on January 1st with all the January 1st scriptures to go with that whole thing. But for today, I just wanted to say that that's my reason for staying home. I'm just going to be at home with Jesus. I'm going to do lentil soup. I'm going to finish doing my Jesus bread with honey and kosher salt instead of all the quick breads that we get with all that additives and preservatives in the stores. The breads are getting so expensive and everything's so badly made at stores. I have to say that people are better off to stay home and cook more, and it's healthier, not just fun and tastes good. And I'm sun-made raisins. I love these. I was raised so well with my grandmother. She taught me the best products of everything: Tender Flake lard, Robin Hood flour. And when you want to make a really nice mixed flour, you mix the whole wheat and that white. And the point is, I love sun-made raisin bread, but those raisin bread loaves are like half sizes, tiny little things. So it's just better. It's cheaper to buy the sun-made raisins itself in the jar and make loaves of the bread with that beautiful recipe that I'm testing out right now, and just add in some of the spices like the cinnamon to get the right effect for that stuff we buy at the store and get more loaves for our money. So that's why I'm sharing that for today. I may not make that today because I'm going to get 2 loaves of this stuff, but I'm looking forward to sharing how this stuff turns out around my soup. And I'm going to make like a steak sandwich with mushrooms and onion, potatoes, peas, corn, and carrots. So that'll be my day with all of you guys in my short videos. So I just wanted to share that scripture. I will post a little picture up on this video so people can read that scripture. And you can go to any Bible you want and read it. And you could read the whole Bible throughout a whole year from that point on, and then come back to that point and find that it's the only place in the Bible that actually talks about the date December 25th, and the mistake that people make, because we're not perfect and it's okay to be imperfect, and it's not a kind of scene that we're going to be hated for and, you know, punished and suffer nightmares and go to hell or anything. It's just like a father correcting kids with things about learning in life growing up, or when he sees us wearing shoes too big for us, his shoes, walking around trying to be him, then he's like, oh, that's cute, but that doesn't fit. So that's all this is. Just sort of let's rework how God intended for us to enjoy this time of the year around New Year's, which we still do celebrate as a people in the world, but people have just sort of lost place of what that holiday, what New Year stands for. So yeah, I still do the tree and the lights and stuff. I just don't have any gifts underneath there necessarily, right? I buy myself my things and I go out and do my thing like yesterday and have a great time and socialize with other people, which is beautiful. And so, yeah, we just find another way to get through the times and remembering what is good about the future that's coming and what God promises us. So I'm going to go now and deal with the leavened bread and other stuff, and I will make some more shorts. Keep tuning in for all the exciting stuff that's coming in the new year of 2025 from me as a writer and now TV. So you can really have it, the best of both worlds. You can be an inspired writer of superhero stuff and love stories and romance and all that stuff, and still be a devout and avid Christian and serve God. And that if you do this right with God first, then you leave it all to God and it's God's will, then everything else usually will work out according to what he wants for us in our lives. And if people did that, we'd probably have a better earth overall for everybody's life. Anyways, thank you for watching my video for December 25th day. Peace out, everyone. I hope y'all stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, and have people to spend it with. Bye.